All right, so I'm gonna do a bit of a rant today. I know some people are gonna like to hear me rant. I don't know why they like me ranting. I guess they just like me getting pissed off. And I think I have a reason to be pissed off today. So it has to do with the recent dating debacle. So I don't know if anyone knows this, but I recently was dating somebody that I met on OkCupid, and it seemed to be going fine. I mean, there were definitely some issues, but then they asked me for money, and I thought, oh, if they were a scammer, sorry, drank some root beer. If they were a scammer, they would have asked up front and not waited a month. So I give it to them, and now I'm $300 lighter, and it's just, you know, I got fucked, okay? And not in the good way. I haven't been fucked in the good way in over 7 years at this point, which is definitely another sore point that I want to discuss, but I suppose that's a topic for another video. And it also sucks because now, recently someone contacted me on WhatsApp, and they claimed it was the wrong number. Then they started up a conversation. And it's sort of like, okay, I mean, maybe they're legit. I don't have proof. I discussed not that I wouldn't be giving them any money. And they said, well, no, but I mean, who knows, you know, but it seems like it could be a scam too. And it sucks because really, you know, these are the first 2 relationships that I have felt truly appreciated in years. You know, this is the first time in, you know, years that I have felt like someone actually gave a shit about talking to me, made sure responding was a priority, and like I was important. And that's probably why I can't just realize this so easy, because I'm so starved for this, because the people in my life fail me so much in that regards that I need this in general. You know, like I need to feel important. I need to have social contact, and the people that are actually friends, and I use that term lightly, fail to do that for me. You know, because again, they never reach out, and then when I try to reach out, they just ignore messages half the time. So I'm so starved and so lonely that I latch onto the first person that gives me freaking validation that I should have gotten all along. And it's enraging, because then, you know, I'm vulnerable, so I don't see the obvious things that maybe somebody who wasn't in this position, because their friends actually are a good support network, you know, they wouldn't feel so desperate, and they would look at this and say, yeah, there's something fucked up about this, and they wouldn't fall for it. And maybe they wouldn't even need to find someone in the first place, because their friends wouldn't be failing them so much that they feel this lonely. I mean, really, I think that's the subject of this video. My friends have failed me. They have failed me so much. And I just hate it, because no one seems to even acknowledge how fucked up this is, how much it's affecting me, nor do they seem to acknowledge that, no, just because they're disabled is not an excuse. And I'm going to go over these points. So, yeah, it's fucked up what they're doing. Like, I feel chronically lonely. I feel like I have no one to talk to, and it's disgusting. Why do I feel this way? Well, because no one tries. You know, it's my job to reach out if I ever want to talk to them, and then half the time they ignore messages, they just let the conversation die. And it's like, you know, is it too much to ask for someone who just acts like talking to me is something they want to do and is a priority to them? Is that too much to ask, really? One person, that's all I'm asking, I can't even get that? Please. No, it's not. Come on. And it's like, again, it's a serious problem. I mean, it makes me feel chronically lonely and like I have no one to turn to, and that's probably pretty true, honestly. Because again, the last time I tried to get help getting out of my home situation from my friends, they just piddly-putzed for a year and didn't take it seriously. They didn't even save up any money. It's like, come on. We were supposed to room together and you didn't even save up any money. How are you not going to take this? Like, I can't trust you. And I told you I was sinking on Titanic, so you had no excuse to do that. And then you're gonna, you know, save up money to visit your ex-girlfriend's mom in another country. Like, seriously? I know I brought this up, but it's kind of just shows how someone you haven't even met's more important than me. And then a lot of other friends have just left me behind. You know, they moved to other places, they never talk to me, and then I get fed up after being treated like this for years, and I say, you need to do better or we're done, and they get all defensive. Oh, I've dealt with a lot. Yeah, you know what? I was dealing with a lot too, asshole. You don't see me failing my fucking friends and acting like it's excusable. Like, come on. I think I lost my train of thought, honestly. But it's true. It's true. And it makes me mad. And it's like, no one I talk to gives me any sympathy for this or even acknowledges how fucked up it is. Instead, they're all like, oh, well, you're being too hard on them. You should have seen it coming because they're disabled, this and that. Just always excuses. Never acknowledging how fucked up it is, how messed up how much it's affected me in a negative manner. And never, what really needs to be done, doing anything to solve the problem. Whether that be telling these people that are failing me, you need to do better or you're going to lose him. You don't treat someone that way. Because again, if they're disabled, maybe they don't know better. This could be a good life lesson, but instead you're too busy fighting me and calling me out for being too picky, so to speak. And then they also don't help me find someone who actually is going to maybe treat me better. Because again, You know, maybe if my friends just really don't care and they don't want to try, maybe I should find someone else. But it isn't that fucking easy now, is it? If it is, I would have done it. I need help, and no one acknowledges that I need help. They're just like, they just keep pawning it off on me, you know. Really, I think I'm surrounded by narcissists, honestly, because again, it's like, if I try to talk about a problem, they're like, oh, they're like, it's not that big a deal. And if I say it is that big a deal, oh, it's your fault. And if I say it's not my fault, then it's my fault for not finding someone else. You know, it's just always on me. It really gets fucking old after a while. I mean, and it makes me mad too. And I also just have to point out the ridiculousness. I remember I mentioned earlier that a lot of these people are disabled. First of all, there's hypocrisy in there, because my parents who are part of the problem, I try to talk to them about this and they're part of the problem. And they always are like, oh, well, they're disabled, you shouldn't expect more. Okay, well, I'm disabled too. Why are you expecting me to do perfect and you're giving them every break in the book? You see the inherent hypocrisy there? Does anyone see how fucked up that is? Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, Victor needs to do perfect and his disability doesn't play a role, but these people, it does. And second of all, it's just bullshit, because it doesn't even play a role. I'm going to tell you why I say that. I know someone who is legally fucking blind. Like, legally blind. And they're an impressive person. But still, they're legally blind. So if anyone would have a reason not to reply to my messages, text messages, it would be them. And yet they still reply at a frequency that's probably 10 times what these wankers that I'm talking about have done ever. You know, they still do 10 times more than these people have ever done. So I'm going to reiterate that. Someone who cannot see the phone is able to do 10 times better than these people do. I'm not trying to sell them short, but do you think maybe there's a possibility that the people that I'm criticizing really aren't trying as hard as they could be? They're not treating me like I'm a priority. They're not respecting me. They're not acknowledging me. They're not, you know, they're basically just ignoring me. They're not trying. You think that there's a slight possibility that that could be the case? Or are you just going to keep with this disability angle of, oh, they're disabled, they can't do anymore? I mean, it's not helping them. It's making them, it's going to make them feel like they're doing nothing wrong. And it's like, yeah, you are, because you're not trying. And you're, you know, that ain't going to help them in the work world. I mean, can you imagine? They don't show up to work and they say, well, I'm disabled, you can't fire me. Yeah, they are. They're probably going to be more likely to fire you, because not only are you acting like it's not a problem, you're not showing any remorse or attempt to do better in the future. And no one wants to hire an employee like that. And I guarantee they'd be the first one to say, oh, they're discriminating. No, they're not discriminating. They're firing you because you're a bad employee, not because you're disabled. That's really what it boils down to. So you're setting a dangerous precedent for these people. And you're also not validating what I've gone through. People need to start validating this. This is a fucked up thing. There's a loneliness problem in this world, and it starts from shit like this. Others just not respecting other people for whatever reason. And then you try to talk about it and everyone puts you down. You know, it's a problem. And people need to start acknowledging that it's a fucking problem and start treating it like it's a problem. And if someone comes to you saying this, stop putting them down, help them find a fucking solution, or get the fuck out of the way. You know, really, I'd prefer people just stay the fuck out of my way than criticize me, because that's actively adding to it. At least if you stay the fuck out of my way, you don't waste my time, so I don't go to you in the future thinking maybe you'll help. And, you know, you're not getting in the way and making me feel down, so now I have to fight you off in addition to the initial problem, and I never get where I need to be. It's sickening. It's fucking sickening. And it's a real problem. And it needs to be addressed. I also just have to say to my friends that don't try, kind of fuck you. I mean, really, I know no one in my life is going to acknowledge this, but it really is your fault that I'm down $300 or whatever. Because again, yeah, I sent the money. Yeah, I chose to make that payment, but why was I in that situation? Was it my fault? Or was it yours for chronically treating me like I wasn't important and making me feel so lonely? I latched onto and trusted the first person who treated me like I meant anything. Whose fault is it? I mean, let's put it to you this way. Whose fault is it if someone gets mugged in a bad neighborhood? Is it their fault for being in the bad neighborhood, or is it their friend who left early from the party and forced them to walk home? Whose fault is it? I think it's pretty clear what I'm talking about here, if you have any logic. Though maybe that's expecting too much of a lot of people. A lot of them really aren't that bright. Or maybe they are, but they refuse to acknowledge it because that would mean they look bad. I don't know. Either way, you know, you guys suck. Fucking do better. Do something, for God's sake. You know, it's not that hard to reply to messages, and I just have no sympathy for people who can't even take 2 seconds to reply and are always like, oh, I'm so busy, this and that. No, I just don't mean anything to you. Just fucking come out and say it. Don't waste my time. Don't try to play the disability card. Don't do any of this fucking shit. It's fucking acknowledge what it is. You don't care, and you never will. So stop acting like you are, and at least acknowledge that you fucked up. Give me that much. Give me that validation that I have been wronged, that I have been treated poorly, and that I don't deserve this. And you know, really, if you're really feeling good, you should offer to pay 150 of the fucking money that I lost. Because really, I do consider it to be half your fucking fault. Like, really, it is your fault. You guys chronically failed me, so I got in this situation. So, half for me for paying it, half for you for making me that vulnerable to where I was able to get duped like that. But no, you're not going to do that. I know you're not going to do that. But in that ideal world, you really should. Whatever. This is me signing off, I guess. Fuck everyone, and I'm tired of dealing with fucking friends that suck. You know, hopefully when I move, it'll be better, but I doubt it. Let's be real. Why would anyone be any better there? Everyone just fucking sucks.